Oh! Did anyone hear that? Nope. It's called the Apocalyptic Wasteland for a reason, right? It is a wasteland. But have you ever felt frustrated that no one is around to hear your explosions, accidental or not? Have you ever noticed that as you're traveling between settlements and towns that you're the only one on the road aside from maybe the rare merchant or caravan? Other than that, you're literally the only person traveling from place to place. Well, never fear, friends, because today we've got a mod that fixes this problem. Welcome back, everyone, to the quest for immersion and cheese. I mean, okay, Fallout 4's got a couple wandering NPCs like this random scribe dude that sells some crappy loot, and a guy that sells a dog. But really, who else is there? And honestly, this lack of traveling NPCs is actually consistent over all of these open world games. Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and even Skyrim. This is one of those features that modders always add to these games, just because it makes the world feel so much more alive. And it's not that it's actually a problem, it's a design choice made by Bethesda that, you know, they need the game to be able to perform well enough on the minimum specifications or whatever that they released the game for. Therefore, more NPCs added to the world, especially outside areas, does come with a performance cost. So depending on your machine, you may or may not see a small performance hit. Of course, adding any additional graphics or assets to the game will affect your performance at least slightly. However, I do not have much of a beast of a PC, and it does not seem to affect me personally very much, so I wouldn't worry about the performance hit very much unless you crank up the number of NPCs that you see to the maximum. I didn't try doing that, I left everything at the default, but you can actually go into the mod options and tell it to add additional creatures or characters for each character type to the road. So if you want to have more super mutant patrols or more raider patrols show up, you can change that here. So that's a really cool to have that flexibility. And maybe you want to have less characters. Maybe you only want to have one type of character traveling the road. You can do that if you want. It's all up to you. There's also an option to change the relations with player. Only the ally or neutral by default characters are changeable, I believe. So like the adventurers and the hunters and the scavengers who are normally not hostile to the player. If a character type is allied to the player, that means that they will come to your aid in combat, whereas if they're neutral, they'll just wander by like, that's none of my business, don't want to risk my sack of loot on your ass. The mod also allows you to give the bartering NPCs a little extra money, if you know what I'm saying. If you feel like they just don't have enough caps to buy all your sweet loot that you found in the wasteland, you can just make them a little richer. And in turn, making yourself a little bit richer. Unfortunately, the mod only lets you add caps as a whole, so if you're going to add caps to one of the vendors or barter menus for one of the characters, it's going to add it to every kind of character. So that's kind of sad, because I was hoping that, you know, I could bump up the money of the doctors or maybe make the adventurers have a lot more caps than, say, the scavengers. You know what I'm saying, for roleplay reasons. But all in all, this mod has many different options, and I even saw some exciting things while I was adventuring through the wasteland and trying out the mod, like where this group of ghouls got horribly murdered by a wandering raider patrol. That was exciting. Of course, they did deserve it, and it was kind of fun to see who would win. Of course, raiders versus ghouls, probably not much of a contest there. But you could see how this mod could make your Fallout 4 experience a much more alive and interesting one as you travel through the wasteland and encounter different NPCs and even combat encounters that would not normally happen in the game. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and if you want to download this awesome mod, then check below for the download link to the Nexus. If you'd like to suggest a mod for the Immersion and Cheese series, please go to my Tumblr page and suggest it there. It's just easier for me to organize and keep track of suggestions so that I don't miss any. Thank you once again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
It's all over, but the cry, and nobody's crying but me.